So right now we are trying to install CSF rad. We got the CSF rad. I did an unboxing for this in the other video. We got the ktuned water neck, ktuned thermostat. Let's see if I can turn this around for you here. Ktuned thermostat with the water neck on the B16. It's on the back side of the head. Okay, you see it. I'm gonna remove the dizzy and you'll see it's connected to this hose. And the thermostat housing. Here, give me the options to either run hoses or 6-line. I'm gonna run hoses for now instead of the -16. But we'll see how this works. And we're gonna, the CSF rad relatively fits really good with no cutting. But I think I'm gonna trim out the rad support here a little bit just to get a little more tucked in under the T-bar, just to get a more cleaner look, because you do see half the rad, but to kind of get it more under. Let's see what we can do. For those who don't know, fully built B16, dart and sleeved. Quick little eBay turbo kit, manifold set up here, but everything else is name brand. I do have a gold Autoworks kit sitting in the house, just waiting for my custom intercooler before I slap on the new kit. So we're gonna go ham here, and we're gonna try to take this apart. Put you up on a quick time lapse. Okay, so I moved the dizzy so we can get a little better view here. 1 second. So this is the ktuned upper filler neck hose, whatever you want to call it. This is going to replace this here, this filler neck. So, and then I'm gonna have a fill port here, being the fact that I have the CSF radiator, which doesn't have a filler neck. There's no port to fill. You need to have the highest port of your cooling system to fill it. So mine's gonna be here. It's gonna look something like this. It gives you the option to either be -16 or slip-on hoses. As well as I have the thermostat housing one. It gives me the same option. I guess let's get to it. This is that stock one. I still have the hose connected to it, but it's literally just 2 10 metal bolts straight to that's gonna replace this. Alright, so here goes the thermostat side. This is going to replace this, giving me the option to either have -16 fittings or slip-on fitting for a hose. I'm going to be using the hose fitting for now due to the fact that I do have hoses currently, and I will eventually be going to steel braided line to match the rest of the lining and shit in the car. So, be right back. So obviously this is where the thermostat housing one goes. That's the filler neck housing. This was the OEM thermostat we had in there, about time to be replaced. Basura. Then we got a Mijimoto one. I don't really know if there's a difference, but they say it opens and closes at a different temperature, whatever the fuck they say. I mean, I'm on Honda, so I really shouldn't see the difference if I'm changing the temperatures myself. But, hey, it's a name brand, why not? And this will be replacing the OEM one in that fashion, like so. Then from there, you have the option of dash. We're going to be using a slip-on. That's going to be like that. Nice, nice. Yeah, so we got the ktuned thermostat housing on. Sorry I didn't film it while I put it on. It was just tight angle and fucking pain in the ass. I actually had to remove my starter and back it up just a little bit in order to get the bottom bolt because these bolts are the Allen key hex size 5, T5 I believe it is. Yeah, so I left this here. I guess we'll put the fitting on together and hose plummet. We still gotta do the water next side. I just wanted to make sure we have the brand new Mijimoto thermostat in there, ktuned housing. And now time for the ktuned housing water neck. So this is the finished version of it, I guess. Well, it's not on, but with the slip-on hose fittings bolted to the side of the head. And the thermostat in the back. Working together. This is my Dizzy. And Dizzy's gonna go on. Fill neck be right behind the Dizzy, like so. Gangster. Been here all day. So far, we have the fill neck completely done. The thermostat back there is done. Now we got the rad fitted. I did a few cutting, a few things in between. I wanted to make sure I got good measurements and fitting before I do it on video. Okay, so we're gonna have to go new hoses, but regardless. So what I did was I notched out. I let the subframe's about this thick, so I notched out the first top of it and left the bottom layer, so I have something to sit on. And I notched out the same width as the radiator, so I can drop down a lower. I want to keep my OEM T-bar, so I don't have to run hood pins. I can keep the OEM latch. So this is the reason why I did that. I'm gonna clean it up, paint it. I'm still doing fitting here. So if you can see, radiator would normally sit this high. T-bar wouldn't work. After notching it, it sits down here, lower than the T-bar. T-bar could still bolt to the normal holes. I came up with this little bracket here. Took a piece of angle iron, I bent it, cut a slit, drilled a hole. That's one of the mounting ports. Bear with me, one hand. That's gonna go there. And then that'll come forward and go there. Like so. I don't want to run a bolt and nut, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I have a riv nut kit. So basically this, instead of using bolt and nut on the bottom, which is gonna be a pain in the ass to get on and off, I'm gonna take a riv nut. This is the right size. Size 10. Yep. 10 screws onto there. Basically the nut. And then we're gonna take this and insert this into this hole. And then now we'll have a threaded hole. That's how the bracket's looking now with the riv nut in it. So then this will just go here. And now it's just bolt and play. It's bolt and play. Rad is fully installed. I just gotta go get hoses or AN line, but for the most part, she is in there. Does not move at all. No flex. What I did was I made that bracket I showed you before. You can't even see it because it's under the T-bar, which is absolutely perfect. And then it comes with like 2 little braces on the bottom that I just clamped to my traction bar. So I basically just 2 sides have a little hook on it. And then I just rest it up against the subframe and put a bolt through. No flex. And it's not touching the subframe. The Rad's fitment. Looks great. Doesn't touch nothing. Great. Alright, time to plumb the Rad. These hoses in the go. I was originally gonna use the hoses, but I don't feel like finding custom hoses or cutting these and stretching them. So we got Well, we didn't want to do it right away, but we're doing dash 16 and hoses and and fittings. 2 straights, a 90 and a 45. Let's see if we can make that work. We got the fittings on the rad switched out. Now, to change the fittings. Alright, so boom, we're gonna go with a 45 on the back, straight on the head, 90 on the bottom, straight on the top. It's only be about, I say, less than a foot, 10 inches of hose on the top, possibly. I'd say about 2.5 feet, close to 3 feet for the bottom. Not too bad. I'll mount the rad now so it can be sturdy and actually get a good seat. Okay. Always metal cuffs so you don't lose your bolts. Always a blunt so you don't lose your fucking sanity. In fact, let's put this to the side for a second. Boom. This is that bracket I made before. I'm eventually take it off and paint it. Bolt it to the original existing hole that CSF comes with. Put a thread lock bolt through the hole I drilled. And perfect. Here. Hold it up. Bolt. Radiator. Then, like I said before, these brackets were supplied with the CSF rad. It came with these holes already drilled in. I drilled another hole, probably about 2-3 inches down, about 2.5 inches down. 14 mil bolt. The rad comes with 2 pre-drilled holes already existing on the bottom of the rad right here. I have a traction bar across the bottom. I have the subframe or rad support this way, so it's 2 beams. Just clamp these to the bottom of the beam, drill the 2 and screw them into the rad, and it holds it in, clamps it in like this. Simple. This is under the radiator, how it's clamped. As you can see, it's just basically up against the traction bar, resting. The other side's resting up against my radiator support, and the rad right in the middle comes with those pre-existing drilled holes. Simple. Holds it right in place. Alright, so hose and fittings. If you don't know how to install these, this basically screws in like this. Take it apart, comes with a slip-on end. This part, you're basically gonna jam the fucking hose. Excuse my language. Jam the hose all the way in to this flat ridge you'll see on the inside. Let the camera pick it up. It's like a little flat ridge right under the threads. A lot of people put duct tape or, not duct tape, or, you know, electrical tape, certain tape to keep the threads down. I like to do it just dry, you know what I mean? I've never had a leak. Sometimes you need to use a vise, a hammer, bang it, figure the case may be, but you're just gonna take it and twist it on. Just get it on there. Twist and push. Eventually gonna look like this. But right now, see, we still have all this room. The threads are here, and the hose goes all the way back here still. So we need to get the hose up to here. Just keep going. This is just with one end, and then after you get this all the way to the threads, you're gonna probably lube it up, some, you know, oil, whatever you're putting, maybe some coolant, if there's gonna be coolant lines, whatever the case may be. And then you're gonna force this, the camera pick up, see the holes there, you're gonna force this in the hose, and it's gonna suck it basically closer, airtight. And that's gonna basically give you your hose on. Then you measure out how much you need, screw it on, measure how much you need, cut it off, and attach your other side, 90, 45 straight, whatever need be you need on the other side. And then you'll have a complete hose. So, let me get to that. This is, I didn't tighten it all the way, but this is how the first line's gonna look for the rad, and I love it. I give it a little extra, so a little, like, you know, up, so this way when the engine pulls, it can have some type of slack. This is the bottom radiator hose, 90 to the bottom of the rad. 45 to the thermostat. So. So I was looking so far. And that's gonna go like that. Alright, I made a detailed video of how everything got done or whatever. I'll post it later. But basically, that's the end of it. Still braided lines for the radiator. I'm gonna get like one of those little hose clamp things. Hold these two together so it'll be out the way. That looks way better.